Hi everyone, I'm Andy Harrington and I'm the Executive Director of the Canadian Foodgrains Bank.
Hi, and I'm Jennifer Lau. I'm the Executive Director of CBM, Canadian Baptist Ministries.
And this is Get to Know Your Canadian Foodgrains Bank member. Welcome, Jennifer. So great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's apparently I'm the first one who gets to do this with Andy. So
because you're special.
Because I'm special. So I'm happy to do it.
So tell us about the work of your organization. Tell us about CBM.
So CBM is a global mission organization. We are almost 150 years old, actually exactly 148 years. We're looking forward to the 150-year anniversary of Canadian Baptist mission engagement in the world. We represent predominantly the mission concerns and witness of Canadian Baptist churches across Canada, of which there are about 900. We're currently working in 17 core countries around the world, and we work to address causes such as poverty and justice, kids at risk, building the church, and crisis response.
That's a lot of work. So I know that you've taken visits yourself on things. Tell us about a memorable visit that you've taken to one of those countries.
Yeah, that's a hard question. I feel like every trip is memorable in a different way. I would say that my first trip to the Global South was probably my most memorable. It was 19 years ago, I believe, and it was to Kenya. And I remember feeling very disoriented by the experience because I had never seen material poverty before in that way, to that extent. And so I recall just feeling so grateful that I had an opportunity to meet the partners, see the projects, and to meet the beneficiaries of the work that we do. And so, yeah, that trip, that whole experience for me was really a life-changing one.
I can imagine it. And at times like that, when you go on trips or even just in the work you do, is there a Bible verse that you hold on to when you think about the difficulties of hunger and that people are facing?
A few months ago, I was preaching a sermon on Psalm 145. I was really struck by a few of the verses in that chapter, verses 14 to 16 particularly. And essentially the verses said that the Lord lifts up those who have fallen down and he gives them food. And he satisfies their need, the needs of every person in abundance. And so I think for those of us who work in this area of development or mission engagement, I think we struggle a lot with carrying the burden of the weight and the scope of the needs in our world. And I think that's certainly true in the case of how many hungry people. I mean, it's staggering the number of hungry people in our world. I don't think any of us feel like that's okay, but we feel the burden to fix this, right? I think those of us who work in this area. And so I think those verses reminded me that we're not the ones who feed the hungry, it's the Lord's work. He feeds them from his hand. And all we do is provide the means for that to happen in our world. And so yeah, I like to say to our team, we hold on tightly to our efforts, so we make sure that we're doing our best work, but we hold on loosely to the outcomes because they belong to the Lord.
That's an incredible perspective. And you're so right. There are so many things that we as workers carry that reflect the needs of the world. But it is a tough time. But what are you actually excited about in your work at the moment? Let's turn to the kind of opportunities that are there for us and for what CBM is doing. What are you excited about?
I'm coming on to 20 years at CBM this September. So, sometimes I get asked like, are you still excited about the work you do at CBM? I'm actually more excited now. And I'm telling you the truth, Andy. I'm more excited now than I was when I started working here. And I think that's because I have seen how God is working in the world. Through all of these years, I've seen the life transformation that has taken place. And that's not stopped because of COVID. And that's something else, that we think, programs had to shut down and all that. No, they looked maybe a little bit different, but God is carried on in the world. The Holy Spirit is still working in so many places. And I'm just excited about, the opportunity that CBM has to maybe expand our work a little bit, to be able to address some of the human needs that we've seen arising out of COVID. And so, yeah, I'm excited about, honestly, everything that we're doing, and just all the ways that we're able to provide assistance. Yeah, it feels like a gift.
That's such a great perspective, Jennifer, and it's so good to hear that you're more excited now than you were before. And you're one of 15 members of the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. So what is it about being a member of the Foodgrains Bank that you like, that you particularly enjoy?
Well, this is something I actually share with other people when I'm talking about it. I'm not exaggerating. I really do tell other people this. The Foodgrains Bank models cooperation and a shared commitment in God's kingdom work. That is like, it's beautiful. And it's not easy. I think you can agree with me. It's not easy to do it this way, but it's better to do it this way, right? And I think you're one of the few organizations that actually brings together, 15 kind of disparate groups, and that we're united by a shared calling. And so I think it actually models something that we'd like to see more of within Christian work. We like to all do our own thing, and we have our own silos, but the work we do through the Foodgrains Bank really recognizes the strength of doing it together, and when we have a shared purpose.
That's such a wonderful perspective. You're right, it's not easy, but no one ever said that the easy things were the only things to do. It's the right thing.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Jennifer. It's been wonderful to hear your perspective. It's been wonderful to hear about Canadian Baptist Ministry, and we're really looking forward to working with you further in the future. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Andy. It's great talking to you today.